Have you ever sat at a dinner party, surrounded by laughter and chatter, and felt like you were watching a movie in a language you didn't quite speak? You're nodding, you're smiling, and you're saying all the right things, but internally your brain is screaming for a gear shift that never comes. While everyone else is discussing the latest reality TV drama or the fluctuating price of eggs, you're wondering why no one is talking about the ethical implications of AI or the cyclical nature of history. If you often feel bored or drained by small talk, you aren't being arrogant. You might just be experiencing the cognitive gap. Today, we're diving deep into the psychology of the high IQ mind to understand why normal conversations often feel like a marathon in slow motion. The average human brain processes information at a certain frequency. A high IQ, however, functions like a high-speed processor running on outdated software. When a person with high cognitive ability engages in everyday small talk, they often anticipate the end of a sentence before the other person has finished the first three words. For most, conversation is a straight line. For the high IQ individual, it's a massive interconnected web. By the time you finish telling a story about your weekend, they have already analyzed the outcome, linked it to 3 different psychological theories, and formulated 5 follow-up questions that usually feel too intense for a casual Saturday. Because they process information so quickly, the lag of normal conversation feels physically draining. It's like trying to watch a movie at half speed. Eventually, you just want to turn it off. To most people, small talk is a social lubricant. It's a way to build rapport and feel safe. But for the highly intelligent, small talk is often viewed as low-utility data. Their brains are naturally wired to seek deep talk and the big why. Think about it. While a neighbor says, "It's been raining a lot lately," the high IQ internal response is often, "Yes, the precipitation levels are 12% higher than last year. I wonder how this will affect the local groundwater table." When they try to bring these big why thoughts into the conversation, they're often met with blank stares or labeled as too serious. Over time, they learn to suppress these thoughts, leading to a feeling of masking. This makes social interaction feel like a chore rather than a joy. High intelligence often comes with a need for linguistic precision. They don't just want to communicate, they want to be accurate. If someone says, "Everyone loves that movie," a high IQ person might feel an almost physical urge to correct them. Actually, it has a 60% rating, so technically 40% of people didn't like it. This isn't meant to be rude. In their mind, truth and accuracy are the highest forms of respect. However, in a casual setting, this is often interpreted as being argumentative or pedantic. They end up in a catch-22, stay silent and feel dishonest, or speak up and be the party pooper. There is a common myth that high IQ means low emotional intelligence. This is rarely true. In fact, many high IQ individuals are hyper-empathic. They don't just hear your words, they hear the why behind them. They can sense the subtext, the hidden insecurities, and the social posturing of everyone in the room. They see the person trying too hard to be liked, or the person hiding a secret sadness. Being an emotional sponge in a room full of superficial chatter is exhausting. It's like trying to listen to a whisper in the middle of a construction site. They aren't avoiding people because they don't care. They're avoiding people because they care too much and see too much. For many, social interaction is an autopilot function. For the highly intelligent, it can be manual labor. They often have to calculate their responses to ensure they don't overwhelm others. They tell themselves, "Don't talk about that book for too long," or "Remember to ask about their dog," or "Don't correct their grammar." This constant self-monitoring means that by the end of a social event, they feel like they've just finished a 10-hour shift. If you relate to this, the answer isn't to look down on others or to hide forever. The world needs both the small talkers who keep the community together and the deep thinkers who push boundaries. The key is selective socializing. Seek out niche communities, whether it's a philosophy forum, a chess club, or a specialized professional group where the default conversation is deep. Apply the 80-20 rule. Spend 80% of your time with the tribe that understands your leaps, and use the other 20% to practice the social art of small talk. View it not as a waste of time, but as a human ritual of connection. High intelligence is a gift, but it requires a specific manual to operate. You aren't broken for finding normal conversations difficult, you're just tuned to a different frequency. The stars don't compare themselves to the streetlights, they just keep shining at their own magnitude.